Today, I'll be talking about scope. In previous videos, I talked about the keywords global and local, but now I'll be going into depth about those terms. Scope refers to where a function or variable can be accessed in the script. There are two types of scope, global scope and local scope. Global scope means a function or variable can be accessed from anywhere in the script, and even accessed by other scripts in the same game. To use global scope, when creating a function or variable, do not add the word local at the beginning. All functions or variables are global by default, so if you don't include local, it'll automatically be global. Let's create two global functions as an example. This is a global function, and you could tell because there's no local at the beginning of the function. So this should print 2 twice in the output when we run the game. So see, notice how I only needed to create the variable once, and both global and global2 printed it. If I were to make that variable local, I would need to define the variable for global2 if I wanted global2 to print 2 like global1. So let's see what happens if I make global1's variable local. Now let's run the game to check what happens. So you see a 2 in the output, but also a nil. Nil just means the variable had no defined value, so it produced nothing. But why did this happen? It's because I made the scope of the variable local. This means the variable is defined only in the function it resides in. So global knows what the value of our variable is, and it gives us the value in the output, while global2 has no clue what the value of our variable is, so global2 just gives us nil, nothing. Using global scope is not recommended, and here's why. For one, global variables and functions will overwrite each other if they have the same name, which causes issues. Local variables and functions that have the same name will not overwrite each other. Secondly, global scope makes it hard to debug your functions or variables, especially if using big scripts. Local scope keeps it predictable and isolates bugs. Global scope isn't entirely useless though. For example, if a bunch of scripts in your game need to know the player's health, you would use global scope. This way, you don't need to store the same piece of data in multiple places in your scripts over and over again. So if you don't need to do that, I wouldn't use global scope. Using local makes the code only accessible from the block of code it was in. For example, a block of code could refer to the function the local variable was in. If the code wasn't in a block of code, local scope would make the code only acceptable in the script it's inside. So essentially, scope is where a function or variable can be accessed in your code. If the scope is global, it can be accessed from anywhere in the script, or even in other scripts in the same game. If the scope is local, it's only accessible where it's defined.